for Youth and Student member, Ms. Juliette Gudknecht. Juliette is an autistic self-advocate and also a PhD student in special education at Columbia University. While she's serving as a member of UNESCO's SDG for Youth and Student Network, she's the Inclusive and Equitable Education Thematic Area co-lead. She's also the CEO and founder of Autism and Neurodivergency Advocacy Association. So, Juliette, based on your experience and also your observation and work with other young people, can you please share, from the regard of institutional support, but from the perspective of students, what kind of institutional support is needed to create a whole institutional environment to best enable inclusion for all higher education, as well as, what kind of linkages are needed in terms of reality and of course the gaps and opportunities. Thank you.
Is this on? Okay. Yeah, thank you for having me here today. I'll just give a brief visual description for more accessibility. So I'm a white woman with dark brown hair, wearing tinted red glasses, and I'm wearing a black blazer. And like Lily said, I am autistic and a disabled self-advocate and current student in higher education. All right, so when we think about advocating for fundamental human rights of students with disabilities and fostering a culture of inclusion within higher education, the role of institutional support cannot be overstated. We need to be looking at accessibility of resources within the classroom and not just acknowledging this, but actively ensuring this for students with disabilities. And we need to make sure, like one of my colleagues said, that we have diverse representation within leadership, faculty, and staff of academic institutions. This serves as not just a beacon of hope for marginalized disabled students, but really lays the groundwork for a deeper understanding and genuine sense of belonging. I also want to make a note about the lack of institutional support for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities who are frequently left out of higher education, and people with disabilities in active war zones, and those experiencing poverty who usually don't have access to higher education. Further, I'd like to highlight the education and employment gap of autistic adults, which is my community, even in higher income countries. 5 years after completing high school, less than 20% of autistic college students have graduated or were on track to do so, and an alarming 85% of autistic students who completed higher education, which means they obtained their degree, are currently unemployed in the United States. So this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. And I really think the systemic ableism that persists within academia necessitates a comprehensive approach to disability cultural competence training for faculty and staff. This needs to address the nature of implicit bias, microaggressions, and just the imperative of truly inclusive learning environments. And moreover, we need a wide array of support services tailored to the diverse needs of students with disabilities. And this is not just a convenience, but a matter of convenience, but a fundamental human rights imperative. And obviously, the realization of these ideals face formidable challenges rooted in ableist systemic barriers. Things like resource constraints, poverty, war, and the pervasive nature of ableist stigmatizing attitudes pose significant obstacles to progress. Yet within these challenges lies the opportunity for transformative change. We can amplify disabled voices and awareness efforts and actively involve students in decision-making processes where we can truly embody the principle of nothing about us without us and foster a collaborative ethos. So in conclusion, through uniting together administrators, educators, and most importantly, the past, present, and future students themselves, we can strive to create an educational landscape where every individual, regardless of their disability status, can fully realize their potential and contribute meaningfully to society. And this vision should not be merely aspirational. It should be a reflection of a shared commitment to upholding the principles of equity, dignity, and human rights. And this aligns closely with the ethos of the United Nations as a whole and the SDGs, particularly SDG 4, which is quality education.